Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Tyler. Welcome back to the TJR Auto channel. And today, of course, is another good old GTO day. When is it not a good GTO day? Every day is a good GTO day. So, if you guys saw my last video and the last 4 or 5 videos prior to that, you will have seen basically where we're at, right? So, last video, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. We basically refreshed, repainted, resealed the trusty dusty LS1 for the GTO. So now that the motor is almost good to go, a couple other things I got to take care of, but I'll probably do them off camera. So the motor's basically good to go, per se. Now that the motor is so pretty and beautiful and ready to just turn back on and run and chop like a mother, we need a car to put it into, right? So in today's video, I want to shift my focus from the motor back onto the chassis of the GTO, and I want to try to get all of the welding done on it. So basically, I still have to do all of the spot welds from the wheel tubs to the frame rails, under the headlight buckets, and I still need to bridge the little gap that we have between the frame rails where the subframe is underneath the frame rail. So yeah, I'm going to quit talking and I'm going to start working. All right, folks. Well, all of the welding, minus the rust repair, is done on the GTO. So I know I've said it a few times, but officially, Gemma is now a straight goat. And I am so happy and so proud to be able to say that. Now, I'm not going to show you what those welds look like. They will work. Some of them are actually really nice, and some of them just are not that pretty, right? But I promise you, they're all good. Now it's just going to be me suffering, grinding a bunch of metal away, and trying to smooth it out the best that I can and make it look like factory. So we got most of the grinding done on the frame rails. You can see I got the top smoothed out there, top smoothed out here. Now there still is a couple little welds I do need to make. We basically got this ground down as much as I need it to be. That's ground down pretty smooth. And then over here, just about the same thing. So those all need a little bit more love, but I'm not worried about it at this moment since the majority of it is done. I want to focus on deleting my cruise cruise control. That's the name of it. That bracket I just touched is cruise control, and you can see attached to the same bracket is my ABS pump. And I'm going to be keeping ABS in this car because why not? So there is 4 spot welds total I need to drill out. I'm going to drill them out, and then actually I lied. There's 4 spot welds holding those 2 brackets together. So those 4 spot welds I'm about to drill out. Then those brackets will be separate. I will drill out the spot welds from the bracket that I'm deleting to the wheel tub, and then I'm going to, I guess in a way, sort of custom make the ABS pump kind of just hang on its own with its own bracket. So that'll be that. And then another project that I still do want to tackle, not sure when I'm going to do it, but I do need to do it before paint, is making part, or yeah, probably just part of the core support removable along with the crash bar, so that when I go to put the motor back in the car, we can go straight in with it rather than having to go up, over, and in, just to kind of simplify things. Well, that is that bracket deleted. This is what it looks like without it. So you'll just be able to get to see more wheel tub, and luckily this tub is perfectly straight. That one's a little meh, but the PCM covers that area. But you'll be able to see a little bit more of the nice paint that we're going to be doing. So aside from having to re-seam seal that, which I'm not too worried about, now we have the problem of those were half the mounts for the ABS pump. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to be folding over this lip where the 2 spot welds currently are, folding that over, and that will be making contact with the wheel tub. That will be spot welded, or I can cut it flush with this straight line here, fold that over a little bit, do another spot weld of my own there. So that's an option. And then back here, I'll definitely be folding that piece over towards the strut tower and making my own spot welds there so that the ABS pump will be very secure. And another thing that I will need to somehow rig up is one of the side mounts for that was on here. So maybe I can add that back onto the rear or something. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But already looks much cleaner, and it's going to be a lot less cluttered not having the traction or the cruise control unit with 2 to 3 like throttle body wires running to the bay. I think we're just about done with the cruise control delete. So this is what the front bracket looks like now. I basically shaved it down, tried to round it off. So that's good. I figured there's really no need for me to keep that extended up onto the wheel well more and do more spot welds, because that is plenty sturdy. Plenty sturdy right where it is for the ABS pump. And then we come over here. I drilled a hole in that piece, wrapped it around the wheel tub. So I'm going to be putting pressure onto that and applying a spot weld where that hole is. And then here I made this little bracket thingy for the actual ABS pump to mount to. And what I figure I'll do is I'll put my finger behind it to keep it up against the wheel well. And I will just do a little bead right there, kind of like a little stitch weld, I guess. It's a little 1 inch long. And then this needs to be ground down. And I think I might have said it already, but I'm only going to be redoing the seam sealer that I need to do. So this section right here, I will have to redo. And certain other areas like down there, I will have to re-seam seal as well. But yeah, let's get this thing welded up and I'll show you guys what it's going to look like. All right, guys. Well, it's been a while since I've seen you. To sum everything up of what I've done off camera, things have just been hitting the fan around here. But all of the welding is done, grinded up. All that stuff is basically good to go. And then, as you can see, or maybe you can't see, I masked off most stuff. And there's 2 little things I got to mask off still. But I just did a little bit of sanding with 150 grit by hand just around the bay, just to kind of rough it up. I've cleaned it probably 5 times. I've cut my knuckles about 12 times. And right now, I think we're basically just letting some alcohol drying. And once the alcohol dries, I can finally hit all of the yellow and any weird spots on the black parts of the car. I can start hitting stuff with primer. And I think what I'm going to do is end this video on getting the primer done. And then I need to still go to the store, buy seam sealer, seam seal all the spots I need to, and then I can finally do bay paint. And another good news thing I might as well throw in now, the trans is coming this week. So what that means is I need to get this all done so that I can get the drivetrain back together, get it in the car, and drive it. All right, guys. Well, this is the first coat of like flat black primer, and looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Still got some wet areas over there, but yeah, overall looks pretty good. I'm going to paint a little into the trans tunnel, and basically anything you can see up here is going to be getting prime black. I didn't do the front end yet because I was leaning over it, so got to clean it up again, and then I can hit that. But overall, looking pretty good. It's nice not to see yellow in the engine bay, and for that back area, when I hold stuff out of the way, I can get to it. So I kind of had to, I didn't bother recording because it was a pain in the ass, but I kind of had to hold stuff out of the way, paint, and then gently put stuff back down without touching anything. But yeah, everything's looking good. Another thing too, I couldn't really figure out or really care to think of any better ways to mask off all of the brake lines. So I decided instead of them being a crusty silver, I might as well just shoot them black as well. It might be a little tacky looking, but maybe I won't hit them with any metallic. I'll hit them with just gloss black and then leave the rest of the bay with the fancy paint and see maybe if that looks all right. But I don't know. We'll see. But overall, looking pretty good. So pretty hyped about it. But yeah, let's keep chugging. So now we finally have everything in primer. Any of the spots that might be a little light, I'm sure you can see maybe some spots back there or back there. I'm not going to worry about touching them up yet until after I seam seal, which is basically the point that we're at now. I did have to repair this section. If I have an old picture of what it looked like, I basically beat this entire section in with the sledgehammer because when I originally had the car, the wheel was pushed back it was probably back about 2.5 inches. I pulled it out with the trusty dusty Jeep when I first got the car, but it was still back about 1 inch and it used to rub on that wheel well. So I beat all that in with the sledgehammer and I basically repaired it the best that I could for now. Looks a lot similar. You see that side compared to that side, which is clean. So looks pretty close. It's good enough for me. You actually never see that stuff when the fender liners are in. But anywhoosins, now everything is primed. Everything's been drying. And what I think I want to do tonight, and what I'm going to end the video off with, is seam sealing all of the factory edges. So all along the tub to the frame rail, that side and that side. I got to do the little spot up there, and then everything inside of here as well. So yeah, we're going to learn. Well, I don't know how to seam seal, but you know, if you don't know how to seam seal, we're going to learn how to seam seal together. And this is all we're using. Some tape, 1 inch wide brush, and then what did I do with my seam sealer? And then here's the seam sealer here. So I picked that up for, I think, 18 bucks at AutoZone. So what we're going to do is tape off about 1 inch wide line all the way across this seam on every spot that I need to do. And especially back there, that was all seam seal originally that I knocked out, which I basically need to redo. And luckily for me, this stuff goes right over primed and painted surfaces. So that's why I wanted to get everything in primer, basically get everything completely primed before I did the seam sealer. And then any spots like on the wheel tubs or wherever that I'm going to end up sanding and making smoother in primer before I paint it, it's not going to be a worry. Again, all the seam sealer will be done. And then after this, I just need to, again, go over everything, sand it all up, make sure everything's nice and smooth, and then paint. So that's pretty cool. All right, guys, to keep it short, simple, and sweet, this is where I'm going to end the video. I have filmed this outro numerous times with numerous different technical difficulties. So bear with me. The microphone died, my phone died, I ran out of storage, all that kind of stuff. I won't bother you with it. But I'll give you guys a little show around how the seam sealer came out. Honestly, I think it came out pretty good for my first time doing it. The only thing I will say is just be careful. If you do this yourself, just make sure you read your can. I think this was like a fast drying one, quote unquote. So I learned I hate that beep. So you guys don't even know. And there's a silence button on it, and it doesn't silence it. So Ducati Mike P, you, my man, that likes me being tormented by that, it's unfair, man. It's an unfair world. Anywho's, this was like the fast drying stuff. So it was kind of a one and done kind of deal. You really couldn't play with it very much. So I smoothed it out with the paintbrush, pulled the tape off, and that was kind of the end of it. So yes, it could have came out nicer. Yes, it could have came out worse. Will it do its job? I hope so. That's really all that I care about, is as long as it seals and does what it's supposed to, that's all I care about. So everything's going to be covered with paint anyway, so no, it will not always be this gray eyesore. It will be the same color as the bay, and you won't really notice it, especially when there's everything else in its way. So with that being said, drop some comments down below. Let me know, have you ever played with seam sealer? Techniques, what would you have done differently? If there's any better, I'm sure there's a million better products than this one. This was 18 bucks at AutoZone. So, but one tube got everything done that I needed, so I'm not complaining. That's not bad. I was expecting to pay an arm and a leg to get this done. But anyways, thank you all, as always, for watching. If you guys are enjoying the GTO content, if you're new, make sure to subscribe. I post once a week, all about the GTO, and once this thing's done, we'll finally get to put some time into my 5-speed swap Grand Marquis. But this car is far from done, it's far from finished. There's a lot more work to go into it, but very, very soon, the bay will be painted, the engine with the brand new trans, it's not here yet, but is coming soon. They will be mated together, dropped in, and hopefully this thing will be driving very, very shortly, and I am so excited to be able to say that. We're finally at that point, guys. So, with that being said, again, make sure you're subbed if you want to see more content. If you're a returning viewer, I love you. Make sure to drop a like if you guys enjoyed the video. Drop some comments, let me know what you guys think about everything, what you do differently, all that kind of stuff. I love hearing that kind of stuff from you guys. I love learning stuff. I love being beat down. I love crying in the corner with my head under a pillow every other night, reading some comments, because some people are just such a meanie. I'm kidding, actually. Everybody is honestly like so cool in my comments. I love it. So once again, I love talking to you guys. Make sure to drop some comments down below. Let me know how your week was. I haven't seen you in a week. I'm gonna quit rambling. But anyways, as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. Make sure to tune in next week for some more killer content at the TJR Auto Garage. And I hope to see you next week. So as always, thank you guys so much. I love all of you, and I'll see you soon.